Today we'll be diving deeper into the film components of the closing scene of Furious 7 directed by James Wan in 2015. Furious 7 is the 7th movie of the Fast and Furious franchise. The four major components of film that we'll be talking about are diegetic and non-diegetic sound, special effects, narrative voiceover, and the use of montages. Before we go into the breakdown of each component, we will watch the closing scene of Furious 7 in its entirety.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling stronger. What's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach. So remember me when I'm gone.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.
This is your car.
My car?
It's official.
You're all free. Home sweet home.
What's happening, dude? Thanks for the invite.
I'm gonna go for a drive.
No matter where you are, whether it's a quarter mile away or halfway across the world.
We all change, we all grow, a new lane.
The most important thing in life will always be the people in this room. Right here, right now. Salute me, familia.
Started out small to a real bond, cause we're brothers first. Cause we're been through a lot, but it ain't over, we gon' keep it going.
You'll always be with me.
Change the game without even knowing.
And you'll always be my brother.
How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be there for the last ride. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride. And now you gon' be there for the last ride. Let me tell you. Yeah, we came a long way. I'll see you again.
The greater meaning. For some background information, Paul Walker, who played Brian O'Connor, one of the main characters in the Fast and the Furious franchise, died in a major car accident during the making of this film, so the closing scene was seen to be a memorial for Paul Walker and the amazing work he has done in his lifetime. Special effects. This leads up to the biggest special effect used within this clip, the CGI and editing used to create Brian O'Connor, since Paul Walker was no longer alive for a portion of this film. The editing and animation team took old clips and sounds of Paul Walker from previous films and used Walker's brother, Cody Walker, as a stand-in double for the rest of the film, by overlaying old clips of Paul Walker onto the clips of his brother, Cody Walker. The team was able to make it look like Paul Walker was there to end his character's storyline. You can see within this clip that Paul Walker's face looks a little disoriented and off, and that's because of the overlaying of clips that the editing team used. Narrative voiceover. Throughout the closing scene of Furious 7, there's a narrative voiceover from Vin Diesel. With the importance of the scene, the voiceover is from the perspective of Dom Toretto, the character that Vin Diesel plays, and Vin Diesel himself. The purpose of the voiceover is to explain the importance of family and how that just the people around you could be the greatest family you could ever have. An iconic quote from this narrative voiceover is, "I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time, and I think that's why we were brothers, because you did too." Vin Diesel was not only talking about the relationship between the two characters in the film, but the greater bond developed with him and Walker, which made them feel like family and brothers. Vin Diesel continues to talk about the importance of family in his narrative voiceover, and it shows the immense bond between this cast and how they were much more than just a cast. Montage. With the closing scene, there's a montage of Paul Walker throughout the past 7 Fast and the Furious movies. It's a symbol of how important Paul Walker and his character was to this franchise, and how it will never be the same without him. The montage can also be seen as a flashback into the brotherhood created between Paul and Vin's characters.
I'm gonna go for a drive.
No matter where you are, whether it's a quarter mile away or halfway across the world.
We all change, we all grow, a new lane.
The most important thing in life will always be the people in this room, right here, right now. Salute me, familia.
Diegetic and non-diegetic sounds. Coming to the last component of the film that will be discussed is diegetic and non-diegetic sounds. The most noticeable non-diegetic sound in this scene of the movie is the song See You Again by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth in the background. Throughout the clip, the volume fluctuates from being slightly present to loud. Throughout the conversation between Dom and Brian, you can kind of hear the song playing in the background. Even though the montage and the narrative voiceover from Vin Diesel, you can hear the lyrics of the song. Any conversation between characters and sounds from the car within the clip would be considered diegetic sound. For example, even though it's in a montage, the conversations could be considered non-diegetic sounds because it isn't a sound that both the characters and the viewers can hear.
I used to say I lived my life.
Thank you for listening.